Hey guys, today we'll cover buy side and sell side liquidity. First off, let's look at liquidity for a moment. Liquidity in trading are simply swing points where traders based on their psychology would feel safe to place their stop loss or stop order in order to protect their positions or participate in a breakout trade. And this builds liquidity around these areas. So going forward, institutions will look to pair these orders to get in on their positions or use it as an area of target. Now, these swing points, also known as swing highs and swing lows, are referred to as buy side and sell side liquidity. This buy side or sell side liquidity can either be a single low or a series of it, otherwise known as equal highs or equal lows. So now let's help price trade from sell side liquidity to buy side liquidity and vice versa. So right here we can see sell side liquidity, this low and this low, that's also an equal low. And to the buy side, we can see buy side liquidity, this high also. So let's see what price does. So you can see how price trade from this region all the way to this buy side liquidity, creating sell side liquidity even along the way. So let's see what price does from this buy side liquidity. So we can see how price has moved away from this buy side liquidity, creating a buy side liquidity while doing that. So let's see what price does from here. And we can see how price came back and attacked this particular buy side liquidity while creating a sell side liquidity doing that. So let's see what price does from this particular buy side liquidity. So we can see how price took out this particular buy side liquidity right here. So let's remove this one. So we can see price is aiming for this particular sell side liquidity. So let's see if it gets there and what it does from there. But also price has created this particular buy side liquidity also. So let's see what price does. So we can see how price trade into buy side liquidity and pushed down for sell side liquidity right there. So this sell side liquidity has been taken out after price took out buy side liquidity. So let's see what price does from here. So we can see how price also took out this sell side liquidity after taking this buy side liquidity. And even to the right side right here, we can see that we had a sell side liquidity formed even while price was pushing down. So this created an equal lows. No wonder we saw this aggression in price aiming for this particular sell side liquidity that we marked out earlier. So you can see how price, based on its mechanism, delivered from buy side liquidity to sell side liquidity. And if we play price forward, we can see how price left sell side liquidity and is now pushing for buy side liquidity. So this is how the institutions move price from buy side liquidity to sell side liquidity. And this can go on and on and on in the marketplace. So right here, we're going to be looking at important levels of liquidity, which we can use to frame our areas of target or our entry in the marketplace. So the first one we're going to be looking at is the monthly high or the monthly low. So right here, we can see how we marked out the previous month's high. And right here, we can see that we already have a break of structure. So let's see what price does going forward. And you can see how price trade aggressively all the way to that particular monthly high right there. So you can use the monthly high to frame your entry or your targets, just like we have seen in this particular example. So the next important level of liquidity we're going to be looking at is the weekly high or the weekly low. So right here with this red line, you can see how we marked out a weekly low right here, and we still retained that particular monthly high. So let's see how price move into this particular weekly low. So right here, we can see our price trade into this particular weekly low, giving us a good reaction in price. So we've seen price take out sell side liquidity. Now, so let's see what price does. And there you have it. So you can see how price moved all the way from sell side liquidity, which is the weekly low, to the monthly high, which is a buy side liquidity. So you can see how we're able to frame setups using buy side and sell side liquidity by trading from a weekly sell side liquidity to a monthly buy side liquidity. So the next important level of liquidity we're going to be looking at is the daily highs or the daily lows. So right here we have a daily high right here, and we still retained our weekly low right here. So let's see how price trade to one of these buy side or sell side liquidity, and let's see what price does from there. So we can see how price trade all the way into the daily high right there and reacted aggressively from it. What we want to see is how price targets this particular weekly low. So let's see what price does. And there we have it. So this is how you can use buy side liquidity and sell side liquidity to frame high reward, and high probable setups. Important level of liquidity. We're going to be looking at session highs and session lows. So I'm using the DIA quarterly theory to help us identify session highs and session lows. So for you to get that, you can just come to indicators here on Tradingview and just type DIA quarterly theory, the 1/2 degree right there. So you just click it and it will appear on your chart right here. So let's say we can frame setups using session liquidity and daily liquidity. So right here to the buy side and to the sell side, these red lines are daily buy side and sell side liquidity. And these black lines right here are session buy side and sell side liquidity. So let's see what price does. So we can see price has reached for this particular session sell side liquidity. And we can see the way price trade higher. So let's see if price is going to reach for this particular session high. But we can see the way price sell off into this daily sell side liquidity, but closing in quickly into the range. So dropping down to the lower time frame, we can see we have a good reaction in price right here. As price has filled this void completely, run liquidity right here and still pushed momentum to the buy side. So we can confidently frame a setup, keeping our stops below this low, aiming for this session buy side liquidity or ultimately this daily buy side liquidity. But for the low hanging fruits, we're going to aim for this session based liquidity, which is to the buy side. So we're moving from daily sell side liquidity to session buy side liquidity. So let's see what price does. So we can sell price trade into this particular session buy side liquidity and ultimately reaching for this particular daily buy side liquidity. So if you find value in today's video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and see you in more videos.